Hello, today I'm showing you how to forecast spend better for Snow Atlas. How to do this, first of all, is getting your data, such as your usage, subscriptions, hardware, into the Snow Atlas platform. If you're using SAM Core, that's doing it via their Snow Entry Agent or a Snow Integration Manager, or if you're using SaaS Management, using a number of connectors that you can set up via the settings, or using their cloud metering as part of the Snow Entry Agent. So, once you have the data in the platform, how do you get a better insight into your spend forecast? So, the first key step is coming to that page of choice. We're going to start off with the Snow SaaS management module. And as we can see here from our own example, we get a nice little insight into the applications over the last 7 days. We also get further details into users, but as we can see here, we currently do not have enough data to create this. So if we do go into the actual users as further insight, we do get a nice little image showing a diagram of how our data does increase over time. In our case, we can see from November to December, we've gone up by about 3,290 users. As we can see here, we only have an actual active user base of 395. What does this mean? This means that we do not need all 3,300 subscriptions or licenses that we have set up for all users, because we are only seeing about 395 users are active. So this means that there's a potential saving of around 2,800 users, 2,900 users, where we might not need a subscription paid for them. Further to this, you can come into subscriptions and get a further insight into direct subscriptions, such as the usage over time via individual applications or connectors, as we can see. In our case, as we only have Monday.com, in our case, we only get a nice insight into this aspect. And the reason why we can't get more details is because we haven't added a cost to these. If we added a cost, we'd get a further insight into these aspects. As we can see from our insight here, we get a nice little detail that explains that we have 22 paid subscriptions that are assigned to users but never been used. So this tells us that we have 22 users that might not need the application, and we might not need to pay for a subscription for these users, where we could be saving potential cost. Further to this, we have 124 users where there's paid subscriptions that could also be saved. Further to this, it doesn't mean that the users might never use the application again, but it means at the time of getting the data, this hasn't got further details where we could potentially save a large cost or different insights into that method. So moving on to SAM Core, regarding predominantly hardware and local applications, this will give you an insight into your local aspects of your platform. For example, if we come to the computer overview, we get a nice little breakdown of our predominant hardware usage in device types, which operating systems are used predominantly, as well as further details such as inventory status and most frequently used manufacturers. Further to this, we also get ideas such as quarantine machines. If a device is going into quarantines, it would say that the application or computer hasn't been used within the last 30 days by default, or if you've changed it, it'll be down to that value you've got your quarantine management settings set up to. So, what does this overall mean? This means you can get an insight into your computer hardware, as well as giving you insight where your application data is coming from, as the software data is coming from your local machines as they get eventuated via the agent or the Snow Integration Manager. So, taking a look at the licenses overview, this will give us an insight into our usage breakdown of applications and if we have compliance regarding those. If you do not have compliance, you will not get a full scope into the costs of your applications overall. So, it's key that you do go through and review applications such as the usage reports or using the compliance report and taking a look into this and adding licenses that will cover your applications. As we can see from the unlicensed, if we expand this, we get an insight into our license requirement, quantity, and transferred rights, as we need to add more licenses, purchase more licenses, or remove them if we're over assignment. As we can see from our case here, we have over assignment on these subscriptions. where we potentially have savings. So we have these reports that give us this key information for us understanding how the data comes in and how it's been used. How do you use this to better forecast your spend? So one key thing you can do is using our scheduled report functionality to be able to set up a schedule that can export to your email over time, giving you an insight as your data increases and decreases over time. And you can use functionalities or third-party tools to create graphs to get further insight how your costs will increase and decrease over time. So by using all of these, this gives you a key information into how your application software and local machines are being used and how they can be used. Further things you can do into regards to this is by coming to Home, Administration, My Notifications, and set up a number of alerts into your system on how you'd wish to monitor how your alerts are happening, to set up key information and critical aspects such as licenses, agreements becoming expired or expiring soon, to allow you to use the report, such as the compliance report, to get an insight into which applications are needed, which ones are not needed anymore, and giving you that insight and trust into increasing and decreasing your compliance and subscriptions as required.